Okay, so let's continue from where we left off. And the next one we're going to do is 31. So with 31, we are looking at rem units, and rem unit stands for root EM, which is relative to the font size of the HTML element, right? So if you remember, for our HTML element, we gave it a font size of 16 pixels. So when using rem is relative to the size that we've given the HTML element. So if the HTML element is 16 pixels, and then we use a 0.5 rem, for example, then that will mean half of the font size that we have here. So instead of 16, it will be 8, which is half of 16, right? So that's what the rem means. So in this case, we've already created a small text class. We did it in the previous one. So what we want to do is we want to select that class with a dot. So we say small text. And then we want to set the font size to 0.85 rem. So 0.85 rem will calculate roughly to 13.6 pixels. So like I said earlier, the rem will set your size relative to the size of the HTML, which in this case is 16 pixels. So 0.5 of 16 pixels is 13.6 roughly. Okay. So as you can see now, our amount per 7 is slightly smaller than it was before. Okay, so now we want to create a class, and the name of this class will be calories-info. Calories-info. And then we'll bring a space and we'll do H2, bring our curly braces. Okay, so what is happening here is that with this, we are telling the browser that go into an element with a class name calories-info. And then when you are inside that element with a class name of calories-info, we want you to look at the H2 element within that calories-info. Okay, so for every H2 element within calories-info, this is the styles that we are going to be applying to it. So the first one to do is remove all the margins. So we just say margins, and then we give it a value of 0. All right, so the next step, below the small text element, we want to create a new P element with the text calories. So below this one here, we want to create a new P element. This new P element will have the text calories. Okay. Also below the left container element, which is this one right here, left container, we want to create a new span. So we'll say span. And then we'll give this span element a text 230, like that. Okay, once again, this is what we are building. Okay, so at the end of it, we expect to have something similar as this. All right, now we want to create a calories info selector. We want to use a display of flex. And justify content is going to be space between align items. So as you can see, space between, so we have calories here and then 230 is here. Okay, but we want it to be aligned so that this calories will not be at the top. As you can see, this calories seems to be like at the top. So align items, and then we'll say flex end. All right, so now once we do that, this calories and the corresponding number 230 are perfectly aligned. All right, now I want to create a new left container. So left container P. Once again, this means that we want to target the P element inside of the left container and then apply these styles to it. So the first is to give it a margin top and bottom. So say margin, the top and bottom is going to be -5 pixels. The left and right is going to be -2 pixels. Also want to give it a font size of 2 EM. Want to give it a font weight of 700. Yeah. Next step, we want to create a calories info. We bring our space and then span. Once again, this means that we want to target the span element inside of calories info. Okay, so for the span element inside calories info, which is this one here, we want to give it a font size of 2.4 EM. Also want to give it a font weight of 700. Yeah, as you can see, this is what we are building. Okay, so we are getting there. All right, so typography is more art than science. You may have to tweak things like alignment until it looks correct. So yeah, as you can see, this 230 seems to be hanging, and that's because we need to do a little bit tweaking to it. So maybe it looks as if there is some margin bottom there that's making it look hanging. So the way we're going to do with that is to give it a margin, set the top and bottom to -7 pixels, and set the left and right to -2 pixels. Okay, now it's perfectly aligned with the calories. All right, so for step 38, below the calories info element, we want to add a div with a class attribute divider medium. So say div okay, so remember the divider, the medium we created, right? So this large and medium we created here, so now we are coming to use it. So we'll say class divider, so that gives us the line, and we'll say medium. Now we have to define this medium so that we know the height and all that. Okay, so the way we do that is to say medium. Let's give it a height property of 5 pixels. Okay, so as you can see, large is 10 pixels, a large divider is 10 pixels, medium divider is 5 pixels. All right, so for the last step in this video, we'll do step 40. So for step 4, we want to create a new div. So we'll say div. And for this new div element, which we've created below this medium div here, want to give it a class. The value of that class is going to be, you know what, let me just copy it, daily value, and then small text. All right, now within this new div, which we have right here, want to add a p element. With the text. Once again, let me just copy it. And then want to set the class. Let's set the class attribute to bold, and also we want to have right. So it's aligned to the left. We'll have to align to the right, which we haven't done yet. So we'll work on that beginning in the next video. Okay.